Is 2000K for Bitcoin possible in 2025, or it is absolutely impossible? Let's discover that together, guys. So if we were at the beginning of this year, well, as we all talked about, it was not for granted, but highly probable, mainly because, as we all know, usually the year after the halving is the most explosive ever. But history is telling us that, at least for now, nothing like that happened. So the big point right now to answer is, guys, is this cycle different than simply we reached the top earlier or slower if we prefer, and we are going to enter in a bear market soon, so we can even forget about 200K for this year and also for the next one, and obviously we are not going to have an explosive alt season. Or there is the other scenario. Can we have an explosive phase by the end of this year or maybe even the next? So guys, let's try to discover that using real data. I'm not about opinion. I think that opinions are highly manipulated and makes no sense in this kind of environment where things are changing literally continuously. What I want to bring you are real data that you can use and you can keep track because obviously they are real. Okay guys, I have prepared for you a couple of things. Let me share the screen with you. Let me say just before, guys, this is just for educational purpose. Nothing has to be intended as financial advice. If you want to invest in anything, do always your own research before, guys. That's so important because your own risk profile is the only thing that matters and you are the only one who knows that. Don't forget also to leave us a big thumbs up, drop a comment, let me know what do you think about this year. Are we gonna have a new ATH, a new all-time high or not? Okay, let me share the screen with you and let's start talking about these metrics. Usually for these kind of things, I rather go more than on the price action. The price action, as we know, is highly manipulated. We have market makers, we have all these players trying to make their games, and they are hiding what is the real intention of the market. But on-chain data, they don't lie. And so first of all, I want to look at the behavior of whales. This is a chart that is telling us one simple thing. Guys, do you see this exponential curve? And it's starting here in October, November 2024. So what we can suppose is that in the moment of the election, something happened, the market changed completely because as we can see, until this point, this curve was, yes, it was increasing, but it was steady. From this point on, in not even 9 months, we had like 10 times more the level of accumulation by the new whales. On the other side, if we check old whales, as you can see, it's steady since March. It looks almost that old whales are simply waiting. They are wondering, oh my god guys, what's going on? Compared to the previous cycle, something different is going on, and that's exactly what is happening. If we look for the net unrealized profit, that's a pretty nice metric, and as you can see, in 2017-18 we had all these light blue area. It was pretty extensive. We had 2 peaks, one at the beginning of 2017 and one at the end, also beginning of 2018. If we look to the last cycle, we had this extensive light area that was for most of 2021. Right now, if we look at this cycle, we had nothing close to what we have seen in the past. Yes, we have this small blue light area, short time, but it was nothing special. We just reached the level, the critical level of 0.6. That is usually considered a significant point to see an overbought condition, but after that we have corrected every time. It looks much more, this situation, some kind of long accumulation, and it's not just about the ETF, because the ETF started about here, and at the beginning of the launch of the ETF, the market didn't change much. This happened just in the last months. Why? Maybe because something behind the scene in terms of regulation, in terms of the market fundamentals has changed deeply. So this is what it comes for Bitcoin. Let's take a look to the situation when it comes to Ethereum. So we're going to use another dashboard I really like for crypto quant. When it comes to Ethereum, what I like to see is the balance on accumulation addresses. So basically, this chart is showing us which addresses are buying without selling, and they never sold in their whole history of these wallets. And that's pretty impressive. Look at what is happening since May of this year. We had this exponential phase. And even if we look just like the last month, look at this. We had an increasing trend from 18 around to something like 24. So it's like 30% of more accumulation just in 1 month, 30 days. That's pretty impressive. Just to put things just in the right perspective, when we talk about 24 million of supply of ETH, it means something like 16-20% of the whole supply. So basically it means that 15-20% of the supply has gone out of the circulation. Obviously, these addresses can always start selling, but as we can see from the trend in the last year, I mean, that's pretty impressive. This doesn't look like a situation when we are closer to distribution, so we are not close to a top, at least according to this data. And I want to show you another chart that is coming from the historical behavior from whales on Bitcoin in this case. So we are going to go back to the previous dashboard, but we are going to look at a new chart. And the chart I want to show you is this one. I will just invert the screen just to let you see better. And what I want to show you is that, as you can see, this peak happened in February 2021. So it was something like 9 months before the real peak of the market. And if we try to do the same math into the previous cycle, well, it happened in 2016, while the real top of the market, it happened just more than 1 year later. Right now, this curve is just increasing. It's going up it's not stopping way up. And basically, it means that if history repeats itself, first of all, we have to find a top. Are we at the top? I mean, for the numbers that we have seen so far, it doesn't look really. It looks that we are still in accumulation phase, but things can change even fast. The point is that from the top, usually it takes 9, 10, 1 year to reach the top in the market price. So basically from this data, we can suppose that we can have a market growing up since at least the second part of 2026. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. We're going to have lower rates, and with lower rates, usually it brings more liquidity in the market and prices can go higher. I'm not here to speculate what is going to happen in the future. The only thing I want to say is that nobody is talking about this data, and I do not understand why. For what I can see, it looks that we are still in a completely different phase from what it has happened in the past. It's not anymore about a top that is coming up after a certain number of days from the halving, because usually if you apply the same kind of math, we should have a top by the beginning of the beginning of October 2025, so in about 40 days. But if we just check the on-chain metrics, nothing like that makes sense. In my opinion, we are going to run higher in the coming at least 6 months, 12 months. But guys, let's see. Let me know what you think about this thing into the comment section below. Don't forget to leave us a big thumbs up, drop a comment, and I'm going to see you soon with another video. Bye, guys.